If you think climbing your mountain means doing it alone, think again. Ruth Croft didn't win ultras without mentors who pushed her. Oprah didn't build an empire without guides who believed in her. And even Reese Witherspoon will tell you her production company didn't rise without the right partners beside her. Every dream worth chasing, every business worth building requires a version of yourself worth becoming and will ask for a guide. And today I want to share we want to share the people and the moments that have carried us when we thought we couldn't keep going. Because the guide doesn't just carry your pack, my friend, they carry your becoming. Welcome back to Embers Rising. I'm your friend and host, Wendy Jae, here with my husband, adventure partner, David Tucker. And if you're here, it's probably because you're climbing something really big too. Now, before we dive into this, I want to acknowledge this. In our last episode, we pressed pause, not because we were done, but because we had really big goals to focus on. And two of those goals we're going to share with you today, along with a new alignment in how we're serving through our business. So this space is for the dreamers and the doers and for the ones still becoming. And today's episode is all about the guides who show up when you need them the most. Welcome. Hey, Dave, what's up?
Hey, welcome back. It's been a little while since we've done this, so I feel a little nervous, a little rusty, like I'm not sure what I'm about to do. So I've got my trusty notes here, and let's jump into this because it has been an amazing, enjoyable month. While we took our pause, our time off.
Yeah. The pause was really, if you haven't caught it, it was episode 67. Check it out. Why we took our pause and the lessons that you can learn. If you need to take a pause in your life, we should all be taking pauses in our life. And the reason we did that is the stories now we're going to share. We were taking a pause for business. We were taking a pause for focusing on these events coming up. And that is what we needed to do. We just needed, we couldn't get in the studio. It was just too much. It was adding too much. And it takes a lot to be here with you. And we so value just showing up together. So I don't know if Dave, want to get into sharing training, race updates, life stories. I mean, just real quickly, we do have a local race that's coming up this weekend, which will already be done by the time, well, maybe not. I guess we're releasing this week.
It'll be pretty close. Yeah. So I thought my race season was over after Ironman. I was sort of leaning in and looking forward to that because it's been a lot this year. But there's a local race called Fit One. I guess is one of the top 100 races in the United States. It brings a lot of people in, and it's incredible. It starts in front of the Capitol. So we decided to jump on the waiting list for that because it was sold out. And wouldn't you know it, like the text came in 10 minutes later.
You're accepted.
Your credit card's been charged. I'm like, all right,
pay now.
Do it.
Yeah, pay now. This is a really big race. It's actually sponsored by the local St. Luke's Hospital. Albertsons is there, local grocery. It starts in downtown Boise. It draws in over 2,000 people. There's a 5K, 10K. I don't want to say the 13K. So the half marathon is there. So 13 miles. And it's great. It's super community. It's just one of the biggest races in the year. And we're like, well, we have to do it. But there's a little caveat to this, which I'll share in a minute once we get there, to how I'm proceeding with this race. Because if you're watching this on YouTube or even listening to your ears, you might say, wow, you guys look really good after those adventures. But there are some things that I've been dealing with that I don't think I've shared yet in this podcast.
If you're a runner, then the story is going to be, running with an injury. So
that's
sort of the territory that I think a lot of us live in a lot of the time.
It's so true. Okay, so let's dive in real quick. Thank you for pressing play on this episode, my friend, for tuning in with curiosity and for leaning in to learn with us and why sometimes we all need to press pause. So whether this is your first time here or whether you've been with us since the very beginning, you are part of the Embers Rising fire, and we are grateful that you're here. Now, I also want to give a special shout out to a man named Brent High from the brand builders group, Brent. Your insight and guidance directly inspired this episode, my friend. You reminded me and us that we don't climb alone, and this message would not exist without your voice in our corner. So thank you. Real quick, one little reminder for everyone before we dive into this podcast. If this podcast have ever inspired you, and you thought, hey guys, I want to go deeper with you, please come join my newsletter. It's where we share the tools we use, the systems that keep us moving, and the real life behind the scenes, how we're using AI to build freedom, how we grow while living boldly, and how we stay aligned with life that moves pretty darn fast. And if that's your kind of vibe, hey, come hang out with us. You can go to wendyj.com/newsletter or click the link in the show notes below. So, Dave, I am super fired up. I've got 3 short stories to share. 2 of them were during the recent pause. Super fired up to share those. But one I snuck in here because this is a special little story. I micro condensed this so you guys can have the story. And one day we should break this out to a bigger share. But because we're talking about being Sherpas and having Sherpas in life, it's such a great analogy of just when somebody comes into your life that you didn't even realize, and synchronicities happen. And we all need each other to support each other's dreams and goals. And when those paths align, you just don't want to, let it go. So I had a very interesting conversation. I think it was last week with an incredible woman in Paris. Her name was Mina, and she just blew me away. She was into I think she has a podcast, like it's in wellness and health. And I was like, okay, the stars have aligned for us to connect. It was just amazing. So you never know. And I love jumping on calls with strangers. It's just what I do every day. So
And you
hey,
came out of that conversation
I was just
so
glowing.
jacked, right? Like
It was so jacked. It was so much fun.
she was like the person that should represent Paris.
Like picture the local, it was just this beautiful, wonderful, same age female with this beautiful little colorful flowery dress, perfect background, great lighting, great camera, like great set. She was just like awesome. It was so much fun. So anyway, I think I've got a podcast invite, so then we'll have to bring her on ours. All right, so I'm going to dive into this because we have a lot to share. And this is my story number 1. So before we get into these adventures and the recent 50K race, I want to share this quick story on what started as a 10-day dream trip to Hawaii Islands, turned into a 10-year becoming, and then into a whole new chapter of my life. Because when I arrived in Hawaii, I was broken, I was burnt out, and I was lost in who I was. That's when I met a wonderful soul named Caroline, and she became my Hānai mother. And in Hawaiian culture, Hānai means family by choice. It's like an informal adoption when someone brings you in and treats you as their own, regardless of like blood relation. And that's what Carolyn did for me. She didn't just give me a plan, she gave me a space. And in that space, I started to rebuild myself. She honestly believed in me before I could really believe in myself, which was so important. And because of her, Hawaii became more than a trip. It became my place of resurrection. And here's the lesson I carry from that time. Carolyn became my Sherpa. But I also became hers because she was going through a season where she needed a daughter, a friend, someone to walk beside her too. And my friends, guidance isn't just one-sided. It's the people who carry us who we often end up carrying too. So that truth has stayed with me, and it showed me, and it continues to show me again after again, life day after day. And even during what we went through when we left our home and went out to this 50K race this year. So I just want to share that because that story is so special to me. And she's still, Carolyn is alive. She's doing well. She's up in Alaska. She transitions her time between Hawaii. I know her kids very well. And she's just a very special person to me.
And the second that I met her and met the family, it was just like being part of the family, right? They're just
totally.
welcomed in, all of a sudden it's just food and hugs and love.
A lot of aloha.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love them. Sherpas come in all shapes and sizes, and you don't necessarily know when they're going to come into your life. Sometimes you hire a Sherpa, and they're called a coach sometimes. And sometimes they just appear on the scene exactly when you need them. But one of the amazing
That's
things
so
is,
true.
they're there for a purpose, and that is a lot of times they can see things that you don't see in your life, in your future, or who you could become, right?
So true.
Your potential. And so that's what I love about that story. And yeah, all the coaches that we have, I think of them as Sherpas, just being able to carry that load and go where you haven't gone before.
It's so true, Dave. And you couldn't have said it better because that just ties into what I'm about ready to share, especially when you're saying unplanned Sherpas come into your life. So let's dive into this because I really want to share um, mile 22 at the Harriman race. And Harriman, by the way, was my first race of the season. It's later than I had planned because I had hamstring and knee issues this year that really forced me to pause, and I had a lot of rebuilding, and I really had to approach this race differently. It was also my first race with my new coach, Ann Tisdale. So shout out to Ann, who is a powerhouse of an incredible ultra runner. First place female at the Arizona Monster 300, third place at the 2025 Ray 100 this year, and a coach with the CTS coaching team. She's amazing. And having her in my corner really changed everything. Super detailed of an incredible coach. And we went through so many things to make sure that I was ready for this race.
Talk about a small but mighty Sherpa, right? Like
Oh my
he's
gosh.
definitely able to carry the load. So
For sure. Okay, so let me set the stage before we get into like how the race went. Harriman State Park, my friends, sits just outside Island Park, Idaho, on the west side of Yellowstone. It used to be an old cattle ranch owned by the Harriman family, and they donated it to the state of Idaho. And today, it is one of the most stunning wilderness areas in the region of eastern Idaho. Picture rolling meadows, horses running freely in the field alongside running trails, pine forest that has the views of the Tetons, rivers and lakes weaving through the land. Oh my gosh. Dave, when we did that Renaissance mission, when we were like checking it out the day before, we ran. Oh my gosh. It was just unbelievably beautiful. We were pulling over. I was taking out my camera like everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're running next to horses here and check out this view. And there's a yurt up here and the lakes. I mean, it was unbelievable.
yeah, it's one of the maybe less traveled places in the state of Idaho, because everybody's like speeds through it to
You
get to
never know
Yellowstone.
it's
You
there. You
never know
never know
it's
it's
there,
there.
unless
Yeah.
you're a trout fisherman. Then you know all about it. But
Yes.
yeah, just the country there is different than where we are in southern Idaho. Around every corner, you expected a moose, a bear, an elk,
Definitely.
a badger, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, that stuff didn't disappoint because it's definitely bear country up there.
Well, it is probably one of the most beautiful ultra running courses out there here on the west side. And what makes it special is it's really runnable, especially for newbie ultra runners. Now, the 50K course is about 32 miles. And on our route, it was about 2 loops of 15 miles. It sounds simple, but really nothing about it was because we had some things to deal with. So I want to talk about some pre-race check-in stuff that we found out. We it was later in the afternoon. We had a pre-race check-in about what was it, like 3 o'clock
Yeah,
or
about 3
something,
o'clock day
five
before the
o'clock or something.
race.
Yeah, something like that. And we did our check-in. We find out from the race director that they're draining the lake. They started draining the lake like the day before we got
One
there.
of the lakes, right? There's a
One
bunch
of
of
the
lakes
lakes.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dave and I were sitting there, and I'm trying to make excuses, thinking, "Oh my gosh, okay." Now, if you're listening to this and you're ultra runner, you're like, you're not an ultra runner unless you can do water with your feet. Okay, I agree with that, and I haven't got there yet, so working there. But they're like, "Hey." They're draining the lake, and there is about 300 yards of water that's going over the trail. There's no way around it. It's very like going to be marshy, and it's shin deep. Okay, it's not like ankle deep, which originally like, oh yeah, it's ankle deep. I'm like, let's go check this out. So the lady next to me says, I've got a plan for it. No worries. I'm bringing 2 things, bread bags. I'm like, that's a pretty good idea. So Dave and I leave the registration and we head over to the ranger station, and we talk to the ranger station like, hey, where is the section, and is there any way you guys can like lower the water because we have a race tomorrow. And they're like, oh no, it might actually be higher tomorrow because there's more coming out overnight. And was like, oh, that's not good. So we walk over there, and I take some video of, because Dave's, you wait for me at the inn. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna take my shoes off and I'm gonna walk through it. This was the day before.
And see how far this stuff
And I'm like,
goes.
yeah, how far
And I
is
was
it
thinking, why don't
really?
you just go around? Like you could run on the
Yeah,
edge
I
or do
totally was
something
thinking
else.
that.
So as it turns out,
It was like really marshy on both sides, and there's really no way you can really get around it. They're just really, I mean, literally going over the trail. There's really no way to go around it. So I walked. It was
and pretty thick brush on both sides.
thick
You thought you saw
brush,
poison oak, and it
marshy,
just
poison
it
oak.
wouldn't even be bushwhacking it, and
Not
you
at
wouldn't
all.
get out of the water anyway.
So I kind of like tiptoe through the first section, was all like tiny little micro rocks, and then it's kind of like mud the rest of the way. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I walked maybe like 3/4 of the water, and I didn't know about the other section that I didn't see that was further up because there was a break that the
Right.
trail was a
Get
little
to the dry
higher.
spot. You think this must be it.
And I'm like, this must be it. Apparently there's another section. So I came back out, told Dave, it's pretty long. I think I'm gonna need something for my feet. And we're like, okay, let's go to the store. That lady said bread bags. There was a Last Chance gas station,
Right, there's a it's called Last
or
Chance.
was it
The name of the
was it
town
Last
is Last
Chance?
Chance, which I've gotta say is the best marketing move in the history of, yeah, naming towns because, like, the Last Chance market was just packed. But you go another half a mile and there's the next, like, convenience store, but we
For
stop
sure.
at Last Chance and we're looking for solutions, right? Because that's what you do when you troubleshoot, and these things always come up. And we simultaneously found the solution in the back side of this little convenience store that really, I mean, it had everything from, pre-baked potatoes to surgical
And
supplies to
we're desperate. We're
aviation fuel.
desperate.
I mean, it was incredible.
We're like, okay. And I'm thinking, should I double bag it? Should I get like double trash bags? I mean, we are looking deep, my friend. We are looking like bread bag just isn't cut. I'm thinking like double, triple bag, trash bag gags. And then do I have more in my pack, for this? Because you have to do 2 loops, by the way. This wasn't just a one-time water pass. I have to do this twice. So I'm like thinking, and the way my feet is, if you haven't been following my story, I have feet that I have to tape, and I am super prone to blisters. So I get blisters all the time. I mean, you can put me on anything that's over an hour. I've
Right.
already got a
Most of our
blister.
ultra runners out there are thinking, "Well, why wouldn't you just run through the water?" Now, it was
Yeah,
a loop, so you had to run through the water twice. About
twice.
the time your feet would dry out, you'd get them wet again. But, just that's what I would have done. I would have run through the water. But knowing Wendy's feet, it was just another recipe for
Not an
more
option.
blisters, more
Yeah.
issues with your bunions. So we're like, let's troubleshoot it. And at the same time, simultaneously, she's on one row, I'm in another, and we both stand up and we're holding these dry bags because there's a lot of river rafting and water sports there. And it's literally like the dry bags you'd use to put in maybe, your camera and that sort of stuff.
It was a 20-liter dry bag. It was like huge. It was super tall. Dave picks up this big orange dry bag. I look at the end of the aisle. I'm like, and I was just looking at them all folded up down on this shelf. And I'm like, that's a good idea. And you're thinking, you said, just stick your
You
foot
just
in
stick
it.
your foot in
Just
it,
stick your whole leg
pull
in
the
there.
straps, and sort of just waddle across like a duck. And boom, your shoes are dry and you don't have to take them off and mess with socks and all that
Right.
sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
And so I didn't think anything about, like, I love this idea. Let's buy these dang things. And then we got back to our little cabin. David took a video of me waddling along in these on the dry dirt of the cabin, and we sent it to my coach. And we're like, "Hey, we've got a plan. We came up with first problem. Let's problem solve. We've got a plan. What do you think?"
And I texted to her and basically I got the LMFO, right? Like she's just
Oh
like
my gosh.
brilliant.
This is great. Yeah, this is great. So, okay. Race night, fueled the same. I felt really good. I felt really way more prepared, by the way, for this race than last year. If you'd followed me last year, my first 50K was the Sasquatch 50K, and it was horrible. I did horrible. So I was really excited for this. I had practiced my nutrition, hydration, my sweat rate. I knew so much more going into this. The elevation, the vertical, everything. I felt really strong about this. The only thing that I was nervous about was this water hazard, honestly. And I really didn't know how long it was. I didn't know how many people were showing up. So, and by the way, local races, this is a very local race, so it just go with the flow. I mean, you're just going with the flow. The other big thing that we had to strategize was there was one aid station, one for the whole thing. So
And so one way to think of it is like the course is like a figure eight,
it's
right?
like a figure eight. I
So
was just gonna
you
say
would see that aid station 3 times,
3 times.
just coming
Same
in from
amazing.
sort of different directions. So it was actually a pretty genius way to.
It was, absolutely. But for me, I knew that I had certain things that I had practiced with that I really needed. David was my saint, man. Going up there, he trucked up. We had planned out my nutrition, the ice that I needed because the heat was going to be in the 90s that day, when I was getting out there, especially in the big meadow. There's no coverage out there. And I had to do it like twice. So it was going to be, I was going to be out there for 6 some hours. And I knew that I needed the ice bandanas. There was going to be no ice up there to refresh. I knew I needed certain things, my hydration. I would love some watermelon, but we didn't know if watermelon was really going to be up there, So
The race director said there was going to be ice, and there was. It was just in his cup back at base camp, but not at the aid station. There was no ice.
so so thank you, Dave, for doing that. He trekked up, what was it, like maybe 4 miles, 5 miles
Yeah, 4 or 5 miles. It was beautiful. Like, I hooked it up there,
up there.
hiked it all up there.
Oh my
Of course,
gosh.
as soon as I got there, they immediately said, "Oh, willing and able body. We're short on like volunteers." So
Like,
they're like, "I can help you a little bit, but I got stuff to do."
yeah, yeah. So, anyway, race started, super early in the morning. It was like 7 o'clock kickoff, 7:15 or something like that kickoff. And, about a mile and a half, just walking you all through this, a mile and a half down the trail is when the water hazard starts. And so I'm excited. I'm like, you know what? I got to plan all this. I'm in the very back of all these people, and people that hadn't seen it or like checked it out were like just stomping through it, running through it. And it's pretty deep. Like it is more than just like a tiny puddle. It was like definitely flowing pretty heavy. And I'm like, okay, no worries. I got my dry bags. I put them on, clip them, grab the 2 straps like Dave's talking about, and start moving through. But I didn't plan on, whoa, as soon as I took my first step, it was so muddy and slippery. I did the splits like twice. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I forgot I'm in dry bags that have zero traction. There's no traction on this. So it was a slow grind to get to the end of this 300 yards, because moving slowly, you've got other people passing you that are smashing water, splashing water all over. And I'm like, please, I don't want this to go inside my dry bags. I mean, because they're not completely sealed, I mean, they're just around my legs. Anyway, make it through there. And then I just have to make a decision. Do I take the dry bags with me for the second loop, or do I pass them to Dave? What do I do? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take them with me. I'm just going to fold them up, throw them in my pack, and just go. So that's what I did. I just threw them in my pack, started up on the left-hand side of the trail, was filming everything I could. I'll try to put some footage in here because it was beautiful. We were heading right into the pine trees right next to a lake. So we were heading through the pine trees up in the lake. I'm talking to people. I'm enjoying this first part of the loop, meeting people. It was so incredible. Although I made a really big mistake when the trail started going up and vertical. The trail splits off into 3 different trails, and I'm looking for the pink ribbons and the flower arrows on the ground. And I'm looking so far up, I'm not really looking down. And I made a massive trip. If I have the footage, I will put it here. If you're watching this on YouTube, I don't even know how I did not fall. It was a massive trip. It's almost like I was running so fast, I caught myself during the trip. Made it up the first vertical and end up seeing you at mile
8, something like that.
8, something like that. I get refreshed and I take off again to the meadow and do the meadow, circle back up, see you again, and circle back down and start the whole loop again. The second time on the water hazard, though, I'm like, okay, pre-planned. I know that I'm going to be faster, and I know that it's slippery. So this time I had a new technique and found that a lot of the water on these higher sections of the grass I could step on and get through quicker. So I went through that like twice as fast as the first time. And this time on the other side of the road, I ditched my dry bags. I'm like, hey, dry bags are done. I rolled them up, put them behind a
And
blog.
we went back. They were still there. So
They were still
we got
there.
them back.
We did go back and retrieve them at the end of the race, and then made my way up. And then here's my other mistake that I made is about the same area before it, I had looked at my watch, and my plan was solid. I was sticking to my pace at the time, and I knew I was on now this new pace. And I was looking at my watch going, hey, I am doing great. This is when my ego kicked in, Dave. And I'm like, I am doing really good. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to swap out my flasks right now. So I swapped them out, and I put one in my mouth, which is bouncing around while I'm working on the other one, not looking down. And I trip so hard. I fell straight on my hands, right. Thank goodness no poison ivy or poison oak right there. Just smash straight down. I was like stunned. I'm like, okay, wow. Okay. Look around. Nobody saw me. Stand back up, brush myself off. And I'm like, okay, I'm a little scraped, but we're just going to keep going. And I keep going, back up to the vertical of the mountain. And I see you again for the second time, I think it was.
Yeah, or the third
Or the
time.
third
Yeah,
time.
and I decided to hike way
time,
up
yeah.
the trail, probably about a mile,
You
or
did.
at
Yeah, I think
least,
you met me
yeah,
up there.
and ended up getting to run with you and getting a
That was
lot of
cool.
footage on the way back, which is a lot of
Yes.
fun.
Yeah, hopefully if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see this because Dave had some incredible footage as I'm running through those trails. We could see through to the Grand Tetons, the view out there in the meadow, and just through the trees. And you're giving me some pointers through there, and I'm just
I saw a
running
lot of people
through.
fall
And
in that section. You
yeah,
weren't alone. I saw 3 people, literally saw 3 people fall.
oh,
So
so
yeah,
hard.
it's tough in there.
So got to the aid station there, refreshed again, and then this was last part of the loop, and I knew this was going to be the hardest because I was going downhill. I was going to be in a meadow for at least an hour out there and a half with no shade. And it was really getting hot. I mean, I was dousing myself and the water was driving in like less than 10 minutes.
It was crazy coming through that meadow in the
It
morning.
was
It
so
was
hot.
just cool
Yes.
and damp and, just beautiful, and you've got the Henry's Fork right there, but it turned into just a heat sink death trap in the
Yeah.
afternoon.
Yeah.
I went back through it on the way back to watch you finish, and I was like, "This is just a whole different
Crazy.
place, right? You
Yeah.
don't wanna be out here now."
And I was tired. I was starting to pass people now. The people that had gone out hot were now slowing down, and I was sticking to my plan, sticking to my pace, exactly, really executing on the effort that I had planned and told my coach that I was going to do. So I was executing exactly how I said, making sure nutrition, hydration still going down, doing really well. Ended up having a little bit of carb electrolyte bloat, but got through that. Understand some mistakes that I made on that, but kept moving through it. Mile 22 is where I kind of like, okay, I'm really hot, and I saw a guy up ahead of me who was like jogging and then stopping and walking and then jogging, and I saw him way up there. And we were out in that meadow by ourselves, and there was like a rolling river right next to us, a big bridge that had stamped Harriman Park on the bridge. It was just beautiful. And but it was hot. I mean, like I felt like it was 96 degrees. There was no I had like I had my sun hat going on, the whole thing, like super covered. Um, Run right up next to this guy. His name is Joe. Shout out to Joe. And we just hit it off. It was awesome. Talk about both of us needing a Sherpa. It was just like meeting your best friend out there. I mean, he's just super kind, super grounded. It was meant to be. And we paced each other for the next hour. It was awesome. We paced each other all the way up to the aid station. So all the way finished through the meadow, back to the other meadow where the horses were, up to the hill and to the next aid station. And the aid station, we both refueled. We started back down that next trail. And from that point, Joe said, "Hey, Wendy." And I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "This is my max, man. I'm pulling back. I'll see you at the finish." And I just stuck to my plan. I said, "Okay, I'm just going to stay on my plan."
Do you think you could have sold him an ice bandana at that point?
I don't think anybody was wearing an ice bandana but me. So I was probably the only one
I
in
thought
that.
everybody knew
It
about
was a
those
game
things,
changer.
right?
Yeah.
So
Oh man, it was such a game changer. I loved it. The ice bandana was
it
amazing.
was
So
the same thing in Ironman as I would pass people. I'm like, "I ought to get a
yes.
nice bandana," and they're
Oh,
like, "A what? Where did you get
yeah.
that?"
They need an ice bandana. So if anything brings down my migraines, it's an ice bandana and keeps you from even getting a migraine. It's so preventative. I have, from bike crashing, had a TBI, and my brain has been swollen in my skull, and because of that, I really get triggered by heat migraines. So keeping an ice bandana on me early for preventative, and I know it sounds stupid, like, hey, it's only 70 degrees. I'm like, I'd rather have the ice bandana now at 70 before it's like I need it at 90 degrees. So it's just like it starts the cooling temperature. It was
And
so good.
during Ironman, it was 100. So,
Yes, yes.
that's the only thing that saved me during the run, that and pouring ice
On
down my
down
kit,
you.
yeah.
That was so great. So, yeah, I finished, and it wasn't the time that I wanted, but that was okay. It was a solid finish. Um, hadn't really dug into my feet pain. I just knew that my feet were sore. You ended up getting my recovery shoes, and we kind of hung out for a little bit, and then just went back. We just went back because we knew we were packing up the next day and heading to our.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't gonna leave the finish line without a hamburger.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah. By the way, if you are even thinking about Harriman ultra race, it is absolutely so incredible, and that race is actually up for sale. We had talked to the director; he's run it for 8 years. He's moving back to the East Coast, so check out the Harriman 50K on the ultra sign up if you're interested. That race is for sale, and I would love to show up at that race again.
Yeah, it's it's
So
it's a gem. It's
it is a gem of a race, and it's an incredible location. I mean, you can't ask for a better race location being west of Yellowstone. You've got all the people that are coming from like Driggs and Jackson, and then everybody coming up from Salt Lake. So your race will be full 100% because there is just people that want to do that race. There was the 5K and
why don't
10K
you buy it
there, so I would love to buy that race.
in all
Let's
your
go.
free time? Like in
I
all our
know
free
that's the
time.
only thing. Is like, how am I actually going to do this? So anyway, I would say lessons learned for me before we move on is don't multitask on, your race. If I would have just slowed down and walked for just 2 seconds, I could have seen the pink flag and knowing go that direction. I didn't need to like try to look way up ahead while I was filming. And at the same time, when I was switching my hydro flasks, take a moment to just walk for a minute. If I put something in my mouth, it's immediate now notification to me to stop and walk. Do not multitask like that. It's so stupid. So
I
yeah.
always break out when I'm going uphill, not when I'm going downhill.
And one other lesson I got to say in this, when you hire the right Sherpa, when you let yourself be guided, anything becomes possible. And I have to tell you, my biggest win out of this race is I shaved an hour and 40 minutes off my time.
Woohoo! That's awesome, right?
So
Awesome.
pretty huge from my last 50K, an hour and 40 minutes, my friend, which I thought just 30 minutes would be good. So that was
And for all
huge.
of you saying you dry bag baby,
I
at the
know.
at the aid station after lap 2, there were some people sitting there. They brought some extra socks, trying to figure out how to deal with their trench foot blister, wet foot issue that they were having. And yeah, it was a couple people. Their feet did not look good. So it may have cost you some additional time and a few chuckles, but at the end of the day, you almost walked away if it
Yeah.
wasn't for the toe. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So, all right, let's dive into this because I want to get into our Grand Teton adventure. We had a Grand Teton adventure plan that turned really unexpected. We trained, we planned, we dreamed of doing the Grand Teton Summit into a 62K loop. Guess it was 38 miles. This incredible loop was inspired, by the way, by Jeff Peltier and Audrey Lafreniere, which I'll post the video here if you want to check out the Grand Teton loop by them. Absolutely, totally worthwhile watching them. It'll inspire you. This is in the wild Rocky Mountains of Idaho and Wyoming. It's just absolutely gorgeous. The Grand Tetons, if you don't know, sit on the lake, these beautiful lakes. The Jenny Lake is the most iconic lake. And then there's some other lakes down Targhee Lake. And I want to say Phelps or Taggart
Taggart,
Lake. Taggart, thank you. And Phelps
so
Lake
just
as
outside of
well.
Jackson, Wyoming.
Beautiful.
Just a pause. If you're going to do this, take the day, the extra time to do the drive up and around through the West Yellowstone entrance, all the way through Yellowstone, and then back in sort of the back road into Jackson. There is a way through Idaho Falls you can sort of cut directly over
Yes.
through Driggs and Jackson, which we did on the way back. But yeah, go through Yellowstone.
Yeah, so our plan was when we left Island Park, we literally went north and we went north to the West Yellowstone entrance. We entered West Yellowstone and did Yellowstone down to the Teton National Park drive through. You can actually drive through the park. And that is probably the best way to see the national park because you get views of the Tetons all the way down from all the different angles on that side. It was beautiful. And of course, you're in Yellowstone. So how can you not like, hey, let's see some geysers, some bison? I mean, Yellowstone Lake, there's just so much in Yellowstone. Old Faithful. I mean,
We got to see a
we had a
grizzly bear,
blast.
even though it was way up there and it was
We
teeny.
did
But
see, yeah.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that was grizzly.
yeah, that size. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it was too.
It was beautiful though. I mean, even the geysers in Yellowstone were just beautiful. The paint pots. I don't know if you've never been to Yellowstone, please go to Yellowstone. I mean, it is absolutely so incredible there. I don't know we have another thing like that in the United States. I actually used to be a guide in the Yellowstone Park, so Yellowstone's absolutely beautiful. But I've always wanted to do the Grand Tetons. I never. We would take our guests to Jenny Lake, kind of stop and do like the visitor center thing, and then get back, in the van and truck ourselves back up to Yellowstone. But I always wanted to do that. And when we saw Jeff and Audrey actually do that loop, I'm like, Dave, come on, this is in our backyard. We can do.
Yeah, except when I saw Jeff and Audrey do it, they camped out the night before, and we're like, "We're
We're
not
not
happening." I'm like,
camping.
I don't need room service, but it's nice to have a bed." So we did end up staying in Teton Village.
Yeah.
Pros and cons to that. We won't get into that, but at least it's close to where the takeoff point is.
The coolest thing in Teton Village was it does have a cool little village that you can take the tram up to the top at about, what was it, 10 or 11,000 up there?
Yeah, something like that.
And that was absolutely beautiful. I think it was called Rendezvous Mountain. And they have a sky bridge that you can walk on when you get off the tram. By the way, the tram is not a gondola, it's a tram that holds like about 100 people. So you can get on, and literally you're riding up, you get views of the valley floor of the Tetons and then into Jackson. It is absolutely totally worth just buying a ticket for the view. And at the top, they have Corbett's Cabin, which serves these incredible waffles, these warm waffles up there. It was so beautiful. I mean, the views are epic. The sky bridge to see the Tetons was even more incredible. Absolutely worth it. And we were just trying to acclimate and just kind of
And
feel
you
it out.
needed a couple of days off, before
Yes.
before conquering the almost 40-mile loop. But plans don't always go as they should. And so we started to notice not only the forest fire smoke from a fire nearby starting to fill into the valley, but the weather was changing, and the prediction for the weather was not promising. It was not in our favor. Let's put it that way.
We were seeing a radar that basically showed a 3-day thunder lightning storm rolling in on the day of our attempt. And that was pretty much the only day of our attempt. Even if we were to wait a second day, it would have been worse. So it was like, what do we do? So let me walk you through the steps. If you've never done anything like this before, please, my friend, check in with the ranger station. Always. These guys are experts of the area. They know the wildlife well. They know the weather. They know the mountain, the trail. They know everything that's happening. They are on board with safety, security. They just know so much. These rangers are like the
It's their
gems of the
backyard. They're the
valley.
Sherpas of the
They
park,
know.
right?
They are the Sherpas. So we went in. You get in line, go early. You have to get in line, and then you tell the rangers, "Here's my plan," and then they will give you, but also have backup plans in your mind. So I had plan A, B, and C in my mind. Like, here's what we were planning to do. Here's the time we're going to do it on this day. It was like the next day, and here's my plan B and C. What do you think? And they'll tell you, this is the reason why I think you have this much time to get here. It takes this long. They know your time. So it's important. So what our plan was to do this big loop, and we had a couple of ways that we were planning on doing it. We were even thinking that there was a shuttle bus that could even drop us off or pick us up if we weren't going to do an out and back
If
to
we didn't get
something.
the whole 360 degrees, as it turns
Yeah.
out, there's no shuttle.
There's no shuttle bus. Sorry, my friend. It's definitely need to be back at your car. So what we were guided to do was our plan B, which was an out and back and start from Jenny Lake. And it was also good because we had never done this. And so we didn't know the conditions of the trail, how the trail was, how far it was going to take us. And I was still kind of nursing this injury that we didn't really know how bad it was on my toe. With those trips that I didn't share with you earlier, I had really injured my toe, had a lot of trauma, and we were
Toenail trauma.
toenail trauma, and it was in a lot of pain. So it was pretty taped up, but I was determined to still do the Tetons. So that was a plan. It was an out and back. We were told to like go up Cascade Canyon, go as far as we can get into like maybe 4 or 5 hours. And the storm was going to come in at 3 p.m. So if you do the math, 4 or 5 hours back, depending on when you start, just make sure you're back to your car somewhere between 3 and 4 p.m. was kind of the thought process.
Apparently, the weather did not get that memo.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So we went back to the village. We prepared ourselves the night before because we knew we had to get up at what, Dave? Like 3 in the morning or something?
get up at 3 in the morning, fuel,
Yeah.
tape your
Fuel,
toes.
tape.
It's a good
45 minutes.
half hour, 45 minutes.
Back.
Yeah, as it turns out, we did that back road, which, at that time in the morning, there's wildlife. We got to pet some elk. Well, we didn't pet them, but we could have.
Yeah, so we ended up starting about 5:15 in the morning at Jenny Lake. So we were there early. No one in the parking lot. parked the car, got a great parking spot. Headlamps were on. We were ready to roll, and we kind of started down the path. Started filming pretty early. Although the thing that was a little irritating right off the bat was there was wildfire smoke that had settled in the valley, and boy, it was thick. And I think I was getting a headache. You were getting a headache. I'm like, oh man, we're not going to get great footage because it's wildfire smoke. That was tough because we really wanted to see the lake so beautiful.
Yeah. But it made for a spectacular sunrise. We got
Yes.
to, what's the name of the lookout point?
Inspiration Point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in time for sunrise. And, if you've ever been in the West during wildfire season, the smoke makes for incredible sunrises and sunsets where everything's just like bright orange.
So we're headed up there, and literally this trail is called Cascade Canyon because you have cascading waterfalls coming down to a river the entire way you're going up. You are next to a river or a falls. The sound was so beautiful. It was like mesmerizing. And we're shouting out, hey bear, making as much noise as we can going up this trail.
Because they take bear country seriously there.
They do.
In fact,
very. I mean, we both had bear spray.
Bear spray.
Yeah.
Wendy bought the big canister, like the
40
mother load
foot, yeah.
of
40-foot shooter
of bear spray. But there's signs everywhere, and there's even a rental dispenser thing that's like a pop machine where you put in your credit card, out comes the bear spray, and then you return it and get your deposit back, whatever it is.
Yep.
But yeah, serious. Was the first thing the ranger said. You got bear spray?
Yes, sir.
Because you're probably going to see a bear.
Yeah, and it's really good. It's just that it's their home, and you don't really want to mess with them unexpectedly. They're doing their thing, they're eating, they're sleeping. So we made a lot of noise, but we headed up there. Probably about, gosh, Dave, what was it, like 2 hours in? We started feeling sprinkles, and I'm like, oh no, it's starting. We forgot to mention, Dave, the brilliant thing that my coach had mentioned to me, because I had a coaching call on the top of the mountain, by the way. It was the day of my coaching call. We took the tram up in Teton Village, and you had filmed me actually on the phone call with my coach for my 30-minute call. And she had said we were going over everything that I needed for the trip, and she had mentioned
get some ponchos, right? Like you've got your rain gear,
emergency
right? But
ponchos.
Get some ponchos, because the poncho, once you put it over your rain gear and your pack and everything, it just sort of like protects everything. So.
I mean, everything. I mean, the rain jacket was like, it wasn't big enough to cover my pack. It wasn't long enough to cover my clothes. So that 2 hours in, thank you, Anne, I pulled out that rain poncho and covered myself up. And you'll see a picture right here of me with my rain poncho, and I'm doing a selfie by the river, if I remember right. I'm like, oh my God, we're in the rain. And it was starting to come down a little more. You didn't pull out your poncho. You kept going. But you had your rain jacket
I resisted even the rain gear for a while until,
it was coming down.
Getting wet, and then it's like, all right, I guess this is happening.
Yeah.
But I think I'm most like the glass half full person. The benefit of that was I think it knocked down a lot of the people who thought they might do it that day. And so we got from the trailhead around Jenny Lake, we got over 3 hours before seeing another human being.
That was amazing.
Which is, it's just incredible to be out there, and it was just us and the quiet and the thought that a bear could show up. And then wouldn't you know it, the first human we see is an ultra runner. I have no idea where she showed up from.
I have no idea.
She just came out down the trail.
Just running. No lights on, no nothing.
And so, I have no idea, because there's only a couple ways there, and that is you start at the other end. Maybe she camped at the top.
Paintbrush Canyon. I don't know.
Maybe Paintbrush Canyon could have been it.
It was like, oh, okay. It was really cool. And then we started running into some other folks that were up there too that had camped out. There was like a camp site there. There's also, if you are going to camp, you do have to have a permit. You do have to reserve your spot up there. By the way, you can't just like go up and like pick a spot. It might be reserved for somebody else.
Everything's permitted and reserved up there.
You do have to have your bear can
unless
for
you're
the
doing
food.
A day hike or a day run, right? Even if you're doing the loop, you don't need a permit.
So we, gosh, Dave, we did spook a couple of moose on the side of the trail. I think we were about 4 hours-ish in. I'm also like our turnaround time, like 3.5 hours in. We spooked a moose, large.
Two mooses. It's so funny because it's so lush and green there. It could be right next to you, and you'd never see it unless you saw it. And we spooked it, and he was, they were both just a couple of feet off the trail,
Yeah.
right?
And the thing of it is, for animals too, you've got the cascading falls. They're listening to that. It overpowers your voice. So, I mean, you can make as much noise. They may not hear you. We actually spooked it because it didn't hear us. It was raining. You could hear the falls going. You could hear the creek going. They just did not hear us as we were coming up the trail. So they kind of moved up the trail a little bit, but then they had their mission to come back down.
He I think he was on a mission because I got my camera started, and they had gone up, and you could see them sort of skirting this high ridge, just whatever, berm
Yeah.
above us. And I get to the next break, right? And there's these two big moose heads, and they're just looking down at me, and I'm filming. And so hopefully we'll put it there. And it's super steep, and I'm like, well, they're up there, I'm down here. They're never going to come down here. And then one of them's like, you want a piece of me? And he just starts coming down. And I'm like, oh, Wendy, he's coming down on the trail. Like, and I just, sort of move out of there. I'm looking over my shoulder. I never did see him again. But they're like as big as a horse. So
It was, but it's great to see in the wild. It was so fun. Like when you're out there by yourself, not just like, hey, we're hunting moose. I mean, it was just so awesome to see that. They were doing their thing on their trek back down to the river. So, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, check out the moose that David got on film. It was pretty cool.
And we saw another one in a meadow, sort of just hanging out, and he was at a distance where he's just eating, and he could care less. So
it was very cool. So here's the thing. We had to make a turnaround. By the way, we had the Garmin InReach. We carry our Garmin InReach for safety. We had, the safety check, the insurance on it. You definitely want to do that. You can also ping weather that you can't get on your phone, obviously. So we were getting exact weather updates from the satellites. Hey, the storm's coming in. It's going to hit around 3 o'clock. And I'm like, it's actually hitting almost right now. Like we could see the clouds rolling in. But here's the thing. We were 4 miles from what our point was a glacier called Schoolroom Glacier. That was where we wanted to go. So it was up and around to the top section where we wanted to get to. We were 4 miles. We had to make a call because we knew going back was going to take us about 3.5 hours or 4 hours to get back. And looking at the time, the weather, we just didn't want to be caught in that thunderstorm. Even though we were in the canyon, it would have been fine. But we were like, oh,
we'd have been safe from lightning. But yeah, making it to the top was just a bad call. If you've ever been in the Western mountains, it can feel super clear, and the clouds are actually building up on the other side of the peaks. And then when they bust over, all of a sudden it can go from, sunny to a full-on storm in 15 minutes. So,
that was the thing.
And there's a mountain there called Static Peak that was above us. They call it Static Peak for a reason. Lightning. So you just don't want to be on the top when the lightning hits.
But make a very hard decision. Say it's time for us to turn back. Let's head back down. And on our way back down, it was a lot more people had come up. There is a shuttle boat that you can take from Jenny Lake across the lake to Inspiration Point, basically, to walk up and see the view. And there was a lot of people that were trickling now up the trail. And it was okay. I just felt like it would have been fun if it was a little bit more isolating and less, but it was fine. It was fun to see other people as our way down. The canyon was still lit up. The wildfire smoke had kind of disappeared with the wind coming in, and we were just getting some really cool views.
Yeah. That's just the way it is. And that's why we run, right? Because you get out there in front of all of those people. But if you do it, start early before the shuttle boat fires up at 7 a.m. or something like that, and then it just starts dumping people off, and they only go so far in. Most of them only go into Inspiration Point. There are a few people that made the foray, a little bit further, but mostly they're the Lululemon people. So,
and if you ask us hey, what's the lessons learned on this? First of all, rangers are your Sherpas, but you yourself are your own Sherpa as well, and be your own. Do the right thing, be safe, and just do the right thing to get out of there. By the time we got done with that, and we're kind of closing out, I have a video of us in the parking lot, kind of wrapping up, and I was filming us back to the car, and we could see the rainstorm was coming in, and it just poured all night that night. All night, all into the next day.
We were going to do the other side, right? Because originally we were going to do the loop, but we decided to do the out and back one day. And then that next day, we were thinking of doing the out and back on the other side, past Taggart and Phelps Lake. Death Canyon Loop, the original route we were going to do, but it was pouring so hard that day that we just said, let's just go into town. And I got bagels and coffee, and um,
Yeah.
we sort of wrapped up our trip from there. So
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we headed back. So anyway, Grand Teton's absolutely incredible place to go and visit and check out. We will go back next year and just do it. I think we kind of made a time frame around my birthday. So hey, come hang out with us. Come shoot some photos of
for
us
sure. And that'll be
together.
peak
But
season.
peak season.
If you have the opportunity, I would go in September. I would go during the week, right? Is going to give you a little bit better advantage. And the weather's still beautiful. And usually in September in the mountains, we don't get rain, but this year it's been strange.
And usually September has a little less wildfires. July and August are usually pretty heavy for the wildfires over here on the west side. But September, they usually start dying down a little bit, usually. So I can't say that. We've had a pretty low fire season over here, but everything's unexpected.
And that area's been, it's been our backyard basically for most of our lives, right?
Yeah.
So if you have questions about that area, like DM us. Love to talk about it.
So, all right, let's land the plane here, Dave. This has been a great episode, and I just it's been just an amazing trip, and it's what we needed to do. So before we leave you, I want to give you 3 action prompts to carry you through your week. Number 1, who showed up for you when you didn't ask them? Text them, voice note them, honor them. Number 2, where in your life are you still trying to summit alone? Man, ask for help. Invite somebody in. And number 3, who could use your presence? Not your advice this week, but be the person that's quietly, steadily there for somebody else. Because here's the truth, my friend. You don't rise alone. You rise with the hands, hearts, and the footsteps of those who walk beside you, especially when you think you can't take one more step. You were never meant to do this alone, my friend, and your strength is not your silence. Your strength is your softness, your willingness, and your surrender. So keep your Sherpas close. Be a Sherpa when you can. And remember this, you're not done yet. If this episode landed in your heart, share it with someone who's still climbing. Tag your Sherpa. Send it to the person who helped you breathe again. And if you haven't yet, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Rate the show on Spotify. Watch us over on YouTube. And don't forget to hit the subscribe so you never miss a new drop. Because this is only the beginning for us. We want to say keep pushing boundaries, keep chasing dreams, and most importantly, keep chasing your horizons. All right. We'll see you on the next episode. Aloha.
Aloha.